All righty, so we're going to go ahead. Good evening, everybody, and I'm Noreen McClendon, and this is Free to Heal. I'm your facilitator and your host, and we are a group of formerly incarcerated and loved ones, and we come together every week so we can try to heal from the wounds that were inflicted on us as the result of our connection with mass incarceration. And so we are on YouTube. See our YouTube channel. And you can find us on other social media sites. Please, by all means, watch some of our previous videos as well as leave comments. This is a forum for the people that are here that need to be served. So if you have a topic that you want to talk about, by all means, let us know. We are glad to have people join us for the first time tonight. But tonight, I wanted to talk about the power of our words to us. In this book, The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn, which I really, this helped change my thinking a lot in my life. And I can tell you that from paying attention to this and practicing the things that I learned in this book, as you can see, it's not a very thick book, right? So it's not a whole lot of, not a long read, but the things that I practice from here, they have served me well. And one of the things is truly the power of my word to myself. But by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. So that's a scripture, right? Mm-hmm. But that's how she starts off this chapter, the power of the word. And a person knowing the power of the word becomes very careful of his or her conversation. He has only to watch the reaction of his words to know that they do not return void. Through his spoken word, man is continually making laws for himself. All that shit you're talking in your head, you're not making laws for me, you're making laws for yourself. She says, I knew a man who said, I always miss a car. It invariably pulls out just as I arrive. His daughter said, I always catch a car. It's sure to come just as I get there. This occurred for years. Each had made a separate law for himself, one of failure, one of success. This is the psychology of superstitions. Okay, so now, the reality being that whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. This means that whatever man sends out in word or deed will return to him. What he gives, he will receive. Listen to this. If he gives hate, he will receive hate. If he gives love, he will receive love. If he gives criticism, he will receive criticism. If he lies, he will be lied to. If he cheats, he will be cheated. We are taught also that the imaging faculty plays a leading part in the game of life. So I want to ask everybody to think about, what are the things that you tell yourself about yourself? What do you see show up in your world every day that you don't want to be there? What things, because anything that's going on in your life, according to this, you produced it. You produced it. So where did it come from? Those things that we're not happy with in our lives, and I said this, I've been saying this for years, as a result of having read that and also the 4 agreements about being impeccable with your word stuff. But if in my book, Hurt People Highway, Identifying Unhealthy Elements in Relationships, I tell people, if you don't like the state and condition of your life, change it. This is the first step to changing it. You got to think different. If you've been doing the same thing the same way, thinking the same thoughts for decades, the first thing you got to do is change your thought about what you're thinking. And usually it starts with what you think about you. I'm going to give you an example. And this is why y'all know so much of my business, because I use me because it's easier for you to hear or understand it sometimes if I'm telling you about me versus asking you to think about like me, what I'm about to say. So as a young person, I had my son very young. I was the first person in my circle to have a child, my tight circle growing up. Um, I was 20 years old. Um, and at that time, I was always thicker than the other girls anyway. But then I put on some weight. So then I believed that the reason that wasn't in a relationship is because I was heavier than everybody else, than all the other girls. The truth of the matter was I didn't like the way I looked. I was insecure about me. I thought that somebody else didn't like me because of that. And what happened is the minute I realized that's not true, the floodgates opened. And I couldn't beat them away with a bat. I couldn't beat the men away with a bat. I'll come right to you. So the point being is this: nothing changed about my body. What changed was my thought about my body. I was putting myself down in my head because I thought I looked bad and that's why men weren't attracted to me. But they were, is what it was is what I was thinking about me gave off an indication that I didn't like me. And because I didn't like me, they didn't approach me. But that was something I thought about me. That again, my body didn't change, but the floodgates opened. It was crazy, but it really did happen. You wanted to say something.
When I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
I noticed uh, a person that's slim,
Mm-hmm.
but they always had two girlfriends that were big,
Mm.
and that made them stand out.
Mm.
You know, I seen it a lot.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm an ass because when I was young, I didn't care for big people.
Uh-huh.
But then when I got to know a person,
Mm-hmm.
and then you don't think about it, it doesn't even fall in your mind. And I think that's great.
Mm-hmm. Well, certainly, a person's weight is not an indication of the character of the person. It's not an indication that they will be good or bad or otherwise. It's just the fact that it's just the state condition of their physical body. I promise you. So again, the issue for me became once I began to value me in a particular way, once I began to feel about myself a particular way, then I realized that it was me all along. It wasn't everybody else. It was me that didn't like me. And I had to admit that to me. And so then it could change so that other people could like me. So again, the question becomes, um, what things in our lives do we not like? It can even be something as simple as this. Every pay period, my bank account is overdrawn just before payday. What are you doing? What are you thinking? How do you feel about money? What is your relationship to money? So what are we thinking? What things are we thinking that we don't like? What are those things that are holding us back that we're doing to ourselves? Yes, ma'am. I always felt because I'm so like I always like to help. So if I felt that someone was in a crisis, had a problem or a situation, I thought it was my responsibility to help or to act or are you okay or how can I help you? But I had to learn that wasn't my responsibility. That's not your problem. That's not your business. But
I always felt that way, but I
Yeah.
had to stop thinking like that.
And when you stopped, what kind of shift did you see in the people around you?
Oh, everybody, you changed. You don't even call me, or you know what? If I would have told you that a long time ago, you would have been fixed that already. And I think, and when somebody said that to me, it hit me like, wait a minute, did she just say hers is probably because she didn't pay her thing? And I said, that ain't your business. And that's when I was like, dang, you really that's me. But that is I just like to help. I like to be kind. I like to see everybody happy.
Right.
I can't change what's going on, but if while I'm here, I want to just make sure everybody happy right now. But that's not real, Di, because other people's business is not your business. But when I stopped and started putting all that energy into me, everybody think I'm so mean now. But it's okay.
And it's crazy because it's just a simple shift. Not that you think about what you said. You didn't become unkind.
Still kind.
You didn't think I don't want to help people anymore. It's just that you shifted just a little thought that I am not responsible for everybody's crises.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not responsible to jump up every time somebody has an issue. Mm-hmm. And handle and jump in with your cape.
Yeah, I wore that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure did.
You was going to save everybody.
Everybody.
You know what I mean? And unfortunately, when we attempt to get in everybody's, when we get out of our lane and jump into their lane, what we do is we step not knowing subconsciously, but what we're doing in reality, we step in the place of Yahweh in their God. We get in between them and their God. See, because when they're in a situation, usually we're in a situation because he's trying to get our attention and trying to show us something, usually bringing us to him. And what we do, and I don't care what you call it, I don't care, the process, the universe just works that way. He's trying to get your attention and show you something. And you need to slow down and listen. But if Captain Saberho over here, she jump in all in between everything, and now all of a sudden, what he's trying to get their attention, they looking at you. Mm-hmm. They have totally taken their eye off the fact, whatever the lesson is, and they've turned to listening to you. And distraction, distraction from the actual thing that he is trying to get your attention for. Right? I have found so many times that he's trying to get my attention, trying to show me something, and I'm too busy trying to work. Sit down. Sit down.
Who are you talking to?
Me. That's who I would be talking to. That's what I had to learn. Sit down.
Yes.
Get out the way. Let me do this.
Yep.
Right? I've told you guys before about the time I had to go to jail for that long 12-hour stint, right? And that was because I was defending it was a whole long time. That was 12 hours of hard time. Don't y'all play. You gotta play, y'all.
She did time, baby.
Yeah.
12 hours of hard time. Listen.
Single cell
with a phone. I did. And then when they put me in a cell without the phone, but I was still in there by myself, and I felt bad when I went to court because the lady said, yeah, because we recognized each other from being there that night. Because that night, for some reason, it was a bunch of women. Like when we in the holding cell at Newton, it was like all women back there. It is about 10 of us, not like, and we wasn't all there for the same thing. But it just seemed like for one reason or another that night, it was a bunch of women. And we back there, so then we go to the court the first time, right? And it's like, okay, mine was a DA reject or whatever. It was like, okay, but we're gonna keep this, and if something happened in the next 3 years, we'll bring it back, right? But we all back there's all these women. I'm like, what the heck is going on back here? You know, what are we doing? But at the end of the day, it was my 12 hours of hard time. And yeah, I recognize I don't want to do that. It was stuff around in puddles that I didn't recognize what that was. But when I got to that second cell, and I was in there by myself, when I got to the court date, the lady says, we say hi to each other and everything. She goes, yeah, because they had about 8 of us in a cell that was only designed for 4 people. But that's because they had me in a cell by myself. And that was intentional. They intended to leave me in there by myself because the deputy chief of police instructed them to do so. So anywho, but and I come right to you. But the issue is that, again, we got to remember what our topic is tonight is about what we do with our word and how we handle what we see in our lives is the result of what we think. Because you don't even have to physically say it. If you just think
Thinking
it,
it. It's
just
words.
thinking it, right? That's where the real power comes, is in what you think consistently, because that's the stuff you don't tell nobody, but you think it all the time. You want to say something?
Yeah, I remember one time they came and they put me in jail in Utah,
Mm-hmm.
and the cops from LA had to come and get me. But then they dropped me off at another police station in Vegas
Mm-hmm.
for the cops to go out and party with the other cops. Anyhow, they put me in a cell by myself. They took a dude that was in there,
Mm-hmm. And moved him.
moved his ass into a cell with other people, and the dude said something to me. Now, I'm not in a good mood.
I wouldn't think you would be. Well, if
Anyhow,
you're incarcerated, you're certainly not in a good mood.
anyhow, he was talking shit, and I told him, I said, I'll kill you. I told him that if I could get my hands on him, that yeah.
Yeah.
And I told him, I hope they put you in the cell with me. You
They
know,
weren't going to do that. They weren't going to do that. So I want to know. I want you guys to talk to me. I want you to go all the way back, and I want you to think of anything, any instance where there was something that you thought about yourself, or something you thought that you saw you manifested in your life. Okay, whether good or bad, right? What it because it works in both directions. It works for the good and it works in the opposite. It is a universal principle that doesn't matter whether it's good or bad.
And it works unto death.
It does, yes. Right, which is one of the reasons. Do you guys remember Tupac did the song? He was talking about death and everything, and he was like, and sure enough, wound up dead like within a couple of years. Like you can't preach and think and talk death all the time and not expect it to come. You just can't.
do you remember what I told you about when the first time they put me in juvenile home
Mm-hmm.
and my mom or dad
Left you.
left me, and then I got in a fight in a boot camp that luckily I won.
Well, luckily, but maybe not luckily, because remember, once you got into that fight, then you weren't afraid of prison anymore.
No, that's what I was fixing to say.
Mm-hmm.
And
And that could have changed things for you.
I think you were talking only about 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking maybe if when I was young that if they would have came and got me, maybe I would have changed.
Probably so.
You know, I just a lot of times I think about when I was young and didn't like anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And the only one that was safe from me was family.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But then Janet, when I came out,
Mm-hmm.
and to this day, that's why I quit going to see her.
Mm.
We could only talk in the garage.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know.
mind you, you going, an hour or so.
But I think, it took Joycey a bunch of times talking to Janet, because Janet didn't want me around there
Mm-hmm.
because she remembered me from
Before.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the amount of time I did in prison, she just thought I would be more harder than I was, and it took Joycey a long time to talk. I still can't go into Janet's house.
Which is so crazy to me. Right? So this is his sister, but it just shows you the impact that prison and incarceration has on families. This is his sister, who to this day, and you've been home now how many years? Shoot.
5, 6.
Yeah, no, it's been longer than that.
Yeah.
It's been longer than that because you've been living at Juanita Tate almost 5,
Yeah.
right? So you 70 what?
I'll be 77 next month.
Okay, when you came home, you were 65.
Yeah.
That's when I met you. So in all of that time, she still to this day won't let him in her house.
That's because it's prior actions before that.
Before he went to prison, that's exactly
Mhm.
right. She has an
Yeah.
impression of him, but that's what she thinks about him,
Yeah,
right?
she
And
got
whatever
young.
it is,
How old is she?
she's older than him.
And
She-
so the expectation, what we talk about, the expectations, our expectations of what would happen, but the expectations of the people who you come back to, their number one expectation is you're always gonna go back
Yeah.
and stuff. And she's like, I don't know whether she's still waiting for him to go back as old as he is, you know?
Well, and she may be in another thing like she has guns in her house and she didn't want him around the guns and all that stuff. But
well.
been off of parole, all this stuff for years, right? But again, this is something that's going on in her mind.
Uh-huh.
This is something that she entertains
Mhm.
about
Yeah,
her
his-
brother,
his
like you
actions.
said, Diane,
His
from
prior-
things
yeah, his
from
prior actions.
prior behavior
Mhm.
that she's accustomed to him
Mhm.
being whoever he was
Uh-huh.
before this last really long stint. Yeah, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And no matter whatever it is, he's not that person anymore.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, she still sees him that way.
Mhm.
And guess what? Because of what she entertains in her mind and what she says, he's not welcome to go in her house. No matter how you cut it, clean it up, or whatever, he's not welcome to go inside of her house. He can only sit in the garage.
I remember when I was allowed in the house when I was younger,
Uh-huh.
and
Was he
never had
10?
never had a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And but not
But
now.
not now.
Brother, please.
So again, thinking, let's talk about things that we might want to change, or things that we think about. Talk to me.
I don't think about committing a crime anymore.
Okay, that's good.
No, I
But
just,
you talk it.
All the time.
huh?
You talk it.
All the time.
I don't understand what you're
You
saying.
say it. I would, if I was, I would do this.
They lucky
So
I'm
you
older
thinking it?
now. They lucky I'm older now.
Yeah, but in my mind, I don't think about
Actually,
committing a crime anymore.
Mhm.
I doesn't even cross my mind.
To actually go and do the kind of crimes that you used to do before.
Now, let's say I got thrown out of my house.
you're not.
No, I'm just saying, let's say I got thrown out of my house. I might commit a crime figuring like I used to.
You too old. Alright, you too old to get.
No, but I'm saying that
You're not gonna get thrown out, so that's just, what is that called when people do that? It's a term for it. And I used to tell people I don't do it because I'm not in the situation, so how can I make the assumption
Right.
of what I do because I'm not there? But they call it, it's a thing they call it when they say, what would you do if?
Hypothetical.
Hypotheticals, I don't do
Uh-huh.
hypotheticals because I'm not in the situation.
Right. But I understand what you're saying. You're saying that you're at an age now where you just don't think about crime the way you used to. You don't sit and think about robbing bars anymore and all that kind of
no,
stuff.
I used to enjoy it.
I know, that's what I'm saying. You used to enjoy it and you used to think about it, and I see all the time.
I used to get that
And now
that feeling
butterflies.
in my stomach.
Right, and you don't have that
And
anymore.
once I pulled that gun,
Yeah,
butterfly's gone.
yeah.
You know.
But now you don't sit and contemplate that. You were gonna say something, B.
Yeah, just was thinking about on the topic of our words and how they have power, even the ones that you say to yourself. I really started to think about my own value of myself and how I think there was a strong recalibration of how I valued myself when I was in prison because of the rates that I used to get per hour based off of jobs. So if you got a commissary job, you got paid really well. If you work for Unicor, you work for specific jobs, whether it's 25 cents an hour, whatever the number was, right? But you get so acclimated to that environment. In some cases, when I came back out, I was like, man, if I can find a job that's making $20 an hour, that's great. Or if I can find 17, or what are they paying at the factory, or and I had to check myself more recently in terms of saying somebody asked me to do some creative work, right?
Mhm.
And I gave them what my price should be.
Mhm.
And they said, oh, that's too much. And they started finagle and haggle. And I just was like, no.
Yeah.
And because I had to reassess and start to revalue myself in a different way. And I have to say those things and be committed to it. Because yesterday's price isn't today's price. So, I do think those things that you tell yourself, it's powerful how you don't even realize it. Like, it's like, man, maybe am I making the right decision, or maybe I can cut it in half, or maybe I can do this, and
Mhm.
then next thing you know, you're doing something that you shouldn't,
Right.
because you miss out on other opportunities that you should.
And all because of devaluing yourself in the scenario that you're talking about, right? You're devaluing your worth. And if it's worth that, it's worth that. And if they don't want to pay that, then they need to go find somebody that's going to do it for the price that they're willing to pay. Right? And you get what you pay for. Yes, ma'am.
So we talking about our words, correct? So today I read in the office and I came back. I said, Bridget, you believe I used to run track? He said, when?
Well, I was asking, did she win?
Did you win when you ran track?
Because I had just seen her run and she was running, and then she made that comment.
So the words he used to me basically like, what? No, you wasn't. No, you didn't, or you couldn't have.
I said, when was that? I just thought.
Same thing, okay?
If-
You just use a different phrase with it, but it's fine. It's fine.
When was that, Andre?
Well, it may have been a while ago. It may have been.
It probably was a while ago, huh? Uh-huh.
But you can look like, when was that? Like, yeah, and it kind of, it's the tone. I got
That's what he did. I'm
Hey,
like,
sure, but let me just say this. Let me say this about that, right? Them two
dude, I did
stay
run
over there,
track.
because let me tell you something.
I tried.
This is just what they do.
I ran track.
Okay.
You sure
They-
there?
They do this one with another, and I have learned to stay out of it. Okay. I just word to the wise. Cause whatever they
You
doing,
seen it? What he did?
yeah,
It's okay.
Yeah, see,
But-
I just
But then when you ask her to offer clarity, I just was hoping to get clarity.
see.
Thank you.
She mentioned that.
Thank you.
I mean,
Let me go back to my area.
yeah, because
She mentioned it was in elementary school that she was track.
Tree.
And so I said, okay, that's fair. That's fair.
He said, did you win? Okay, that's why I take, like, you don't need to be here no more. Because he's getting on my nerves. Because I know how to use my words. I told the truth. He is getting on my nerves.
okay.
I know how to use my words correctly.
It's not this not what she actually talking about. This is some whole other thing.
It's a whole other thing.
It's
And this is what I'm trying to say.
whole other thing
And this is
right
what I'm
here.
trying to say. That's why I said,
That's why I said,
listen,
let
just
me
put
get
them,
back to my side.
leave them where they at.
Oh,
Because
I'm
listen, we
sure.
can't
I
deal
feel
with
you. I
them.
love my
Yes, Miss Monica, we're gonna let
Yeah.
Monica talk right now.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
That's like mine.
Unmute, sweetie.
Cheryl has over and over and over and over told me to be immaculate with my word. And I seem to sabotage certain situations in my life because of, as that gentleman said, of my worth, right? And I noticed that when I did affirmations back in 2012, because I was dating somebody way younger than me, I was so insecure. And I started doing affirmations that he saw the transformation in me, but because I was feeding my brain just positive things. And it's funny you say that right now because I haven't gotten a second job. And I'm like, in my mind, it's not a positive affirmation that I am capable of getting the jobs that I used to. So, oh yeah, girl, I was doing some good things about 4 or 5 years ago, and I don't know if I'm just happy being content now. I mean, I do well for living in Mexico. However, I know I can do 10 times better because of my knowledge. And I always ask myself over and over again, what the fuck is wrong with you? So right there, I'm already treating myself. I'm not being gentle with myself. But I ask myself, why are you not succeeding the way you should succeed? And that's what it boils down to is fear.
See, and just exploring this thought, like, what do you think? What I encourage you to do is, so now you've identified fear as a factor, okay? So now what you do, what are you afraid? What am I afraid of?
Failing.
Okay, and now why am I afraid of failing? What makes me think I'm going to fail? What this and what that? So in other words, keep asking yourself why.
And answer the one.
Because you're going to ultimately get to a truth about you and what you think about yourself that is going to be the root cause.
Yep.
You're going to get to the root of it, but you got to keep asking why. And you will know that you're at the root when you go, it's going to be something you don't like. It starts off thinking it's fear, and that's going to lead you on a path of whys that you're going to wind up in a place that has nothing to do really with fear.
Uh-huh.
Because it's going to be something you, and hear me when I tell you this, Monica, it's
Okay.
going to be a lie you told yourself about yourself. It's going, when you get to it, it's going to be a lie you told about yourself so long ago that you forgot you told yourself that. And that's what needs to be pulled up in order for you to move forward. And to get past that, because whether you're procrastinating, whatever it is, like you say, is fear of failure. Is it really fear of failure, or is it fear of success? How many times have you failed at whatever it is you're doing? Why do you feel that way? Continue to ask yourself why until you get to that aha moment, because you're going to get to an aha moment.
You know, when people give me compliment, I have to remind myself, say thank you. It's a compliment. But when people compliment, I don't somehow believe it.
Again, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Why don't I believe it?
There's something in there that you have told yourself about yourself that started long ago, that when you continue to ask yourself why, you're going to find it. But, and I will tell you this too, it likely will be painful, a painful revelation.
Okay.
You're likely not going to like what you find. But I will tell you, don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. Remind yourself that that's not really true. So in other words, you have succeeded at something, at least one something in life, right?
Yes.
At least one. You should been succeeded at least one something.
Tell her she sees Cheryl's face.
If you could see Cheryl's face, huh?
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, she.
I
Yeah,
know I have.
Oh.
Yeah. It just took her a minute to hear what I was saying, I think. But yes, she has, right? So my point for asking the question is, and is to say this: you have, because you have succeeded, you have the capacity to succeed
Again and again and again.
You can do it again if you did
Who
it.
said again and again and again?
Diane.
Hi, Diane.
Hi.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you can, but the only thing that's stopping you is whatever that thought is that you think about yourself that you got to get to the root of. Whatever it is, you just keep asking, I think it's fear of failure. Well, why do I think I would fail?
Because I've something before. Why? Because, and that Clyde Terry had us do that.
Really?
Yeah, we did that in what was that class? Whatever that class was he was doing. And you have to partner up and you have to put what do I want since I'm coming home from prison? What do I want to happen? So the first guy that volunteered to go up, he said, "Oh, I want to come out and do positive things." He said, "But that's what you're doing right now. You're here in the group, so go back and make another statement." And he said, "Who else?" And I said, "Me." And I said, "I want my son to love me like he did when I left for prison." And he said, why? I said, because he didn't grow up the way I wanted him to. And he said, every sentence, every statement that you made, that you answered, go back and take every one where it says you in it out. And we supposed to do 15, I did 16. That was 15 of them that had something to do with me. He said, how do you know he doesn't feel that way about you? And I was like,
Because you
okay.
decided. Because
Yes.
you decided, not because he said that, but again, you put, and the reason you did it was probably some form of guilt for having left him
Guilt.
all that time and all of that. And you created this whole narrative in your head that somehow my son doesn't love me like that.
Because he's grown
Because
now.
he's grown.
And he wouldn't let me clean his ear. Remember?
Right.
And so that's why it's like when you said to Monica, ask the question. It's very important to ask the question and to answer it.
Yes.
And to answer it until you come to the point. Because my thing is this. Are you not seeing the condition the world is in? And people are losing money, losing businesses. It's not that many people. People need work. They're talking about cutting how many people out of LAUSD with another 3,000 after this? It was like 1,200.
Ooh.
How are they gonna leave? What's gonna happen to the kids at school?
I said they're gonna be the dumbest ever.
It's like, is there gonna be a teacher at the school at all?
They're always out. That's all.
But it's the factors of the world right now, the factors of commerce going on right now. People are losing businesses. Things are failing for us. And this world is it's a horrible world.
But Monica, that is, I promise you, and like I say, remember that I'm telling you that what you will feel, you will know that you're at the root of it. Number one, because it's going to hurt a little bit. It's like,
Yeah.
like somebody,
So- Oh, damn it. Yeah. Cheryl
So-
gave me a book that says burn after reading. And I got to like page 21 and I couldn't keep going. And I'm looking at it right now. So maybe I should finish this because it started getting hard for me. So
Hard in
okay.
which way, sweetie? Hard meaning what?
Well, my mother was never nice to me.
Okay.
I can probably
And
remember
it was
two
bringing
compliments.
It was bringing that up.
Yeah.
Which means where it got hard. Okay. So it got painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, some painful shit you didn't want to acknowledge. Okay. I'm going to tell you from here.
Okay.
That's where that's it. Keep pushing right there. That point right there, push it right there. Push that. Because that's what I mean when I say, because it may have an impact on so many other things that it causes you to think, well, because you perceive that she don't love you, and you know she wasn't nice to you. That's not a speculation, right?
Now I want to cry.
Right, but that may
Right.
make you think that she didn't love you, but that may not necessarily be true. It may be that she didn't know how, because maybe she had her trauma,
Yes.
right? There was trauma
Yes.
in her life, right?
Or
So
you.
all she knew to do was what she couldn't give you what she didn't have,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
So maybe that's where that came from, but that wasn't a commentary on you.
Nothing to do with
But
you.
you, as children, we tell ourselves a story that if things don't go a particular way, or we tell ourselves stories, we process it as kids with the mind of a child, the intellect, the knowledge, the wisdom of a child, which is this big, right? But guess what happens? They get buried so deep that we believe they're real. I will tell you what mine was. And all of that was tied in when I told you earlier about me and this notion of men not liking me because I thought I was bigger than everybody else. It started with my dad. Because
Okay.
I believed that if I didn't do all of the work in a relationship, it wouldn't last. A man wouldn't stay. That came from my relationship with my dad when I was a little girl. I wasn't even in school yet. And I distinctly remember, I remember my nana saying, y'all got to be on your best behavior because your dad is sick. Now, mind you, I had not seen my dad in a while. I needed to see him. I needed to have my dad be my dad. So when I went, he was in hospital clothes. But he still threw me in the air, walked me on his feet and all those things. But I took away that no matter what I felt, his issues were more important than what I needed.
Wow.
Subconsciously as a child, that's how I processed it. Fast forward some years. I tell you guys the story all the time how I felt like this particular New Year's Eve, if I had this thought that if I do not call my dad right now and wish him a happy new year, he will never talk to me again.
Wow.
I called my dad on the phone and my dad cried like a baby, telling me, thank you, I love you, thank you, I love you. And what I suspect now, looking back on it, he might have been suicidal that night.
Mm-hmm.
So the bottom line
for you to call.
right, but of course, hear what I thought though. If I don't call him, he will never talk to me again. He was leaving me again because it was something about me that if I didn't do all the work, he would not be in relationship with me. I carried that into relationships with men.
Because your grandma told you had to be on your best behavior.
Well, and of course, which I think even then I knew was a crazy statement because my mother put the fear of God in us that if you misbehave when you with your grandmother, you're going to have to meet me when you come home. So we always was on our best behavior when we was with Nana and Papa.
You got to remember what people tell you.
And that's important too, that you're saying it carried over into all your other relationships with men.
And that's the thing, and that's what I'm saying, Monica, when you keep digging, like I think we touched on the area, that's why you cried.
It's okay.
It hurt. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You probably get right there, Mama.
Watch your shirt.
You get right there, sweetie. You get right there. Because that is probably very likely the source of so many challenges, so many lies that you have told yourself about you. Because whatever your mother did had nothing to do with you. Here, whatever your mother did had nothing to do with you, Monica.
At all.
You can. But it had nothing to do with you. You were a child born into a circumstance. It had nothing to do with you. Hear me.
So that's very powerful. So I want to let that sit. I do think there was something interesting that happened to me. I in my older age, I had an opportunity to meet my grandmother, meet with my grandmother, and she was always
which parent? Paternal mother?
My mom's mother.
Okay.
And she was always tough and just mean all the time. Pull a switch, come here and sit, write this, write that, just very tough. And I had a chance to sit with her in her older age, and she just was like, hey, I just want to let you know, you were always my favorite grandkid. But after your mom was killed, I swore that I was going to be tougher on her kids to make sure they didn't make the same mistakes that she did, because she was my favorite. She had 10 kids. My grandmother had 10 kids. And so, but it was powerful for me to hear, because the way I always interpreted it was like I was hated by her. But what she was actually, she intentionally was tough and was intentionally, that was the way she intended to love. It felt different. It felt very targeted. And it was.
Right, because it was. And that's why that's so powerful.
But it was targeted with the intent of helping in the spirit. And I never understood the spirit until I had an opportunity to talk to her. So I just want to share that.
And this is the thing. This is so powerful. You had a thought or a feeling that it was targeted. I want you to focus on the fact that you were right. What you were wrong about and misinterpreted was the intention.
The reason
See, you thought it was for something different. You thought it was to be mean. You thought it was to be punitive. She don't like me. All right, but no. Even though there may have been another way to do it, but she only knew what she knew.
She knew what she
She
knew.
had 10
She
kids.
knew what she knew.
Listen, she had 10 kids.
Yeah.
But I took it even worse because I was there when my mom was killed.
Mhm.
And so I took it as maybe she saw me as a failure. I wasn't able to protect her daughter at the time.
Oh,
And
wow.
again, that's the mind and the mentality of a child,
Yep.
right? That is the mind. That is how we process things. This is one of the reasons why I'm adamant that people should never talk negatively about the parent. If
Yes.
you're a custodial parent,
Yes. Don't ever-
never say bad things about the non-custodial parent or vice versa, right? Do not do that, because what children do is they internalize it. That if there's something wrong with them, there's something wrong with me. In your case, my mother was murdered in front of me, but my grandmother, her mother, held me responsible, so she's mean to me. She was doing what she had the capacity to do. She was able to explain it to you years later, but she couldn't explain it to you in real time. There wasn't even an opportunity to have that conversation.
Where he can understand at that age.
Right. There just wasn't. So you filled in the blanks.
And it wasn't until I got old enough where I didn't even care. Like I was older at that point where I just was like, hey, you're my grandma. I love you for who you are. And I wanted to know more about my mom. And so my relationship with her didn't really make a difference to me one way or the other.
Yeah.
But at that point in time, I was still more receptive and more open. But I just thought it may be contextually, it may be interesting for this conversation because in some cases, to your point, how we process things isn't necessarily the intent of the people,
No.
even though they may have negative ways on executing or negative styles of communication or physicality. That isn't always the intent, you know.
And it also directly affects how you see the world and how you see yourself in the world. Because look at where you went with that. She treats me this way because I wasn't able to protect her child. Number one, how old were you?
10.
10.
Hmm.
At 10 years old. But again, you took that as some failure on your part, that you thought she perceived a failure on your part to do something, mind you, that she felt like she failed at, because she wanted to be hard on you so that you wouldn't do the things your mom did. So there was something in her that said there was something I did wrong. And you at 10 years old expected yourself to do something she hadn't done in raising her, which was to keep her out of harm's way. And none of it was true, not for your grandmother and not for you. Your mother made choices, whatever they were. She made choices. She chose your dad. Whatever, when your dad killed her, that was not the first sign that there was trouble and that there was a potential for danger. I promise you it wasn't, right?
No, it wasn't.
But she stayed in that situation. No matter what her motivation was, she stayed. That was a choice neither you nor your grandmother could make for her.
And in fairness, if she didn't make that choice to stay, I wouldn't be here.
Right, right. And so again, the idea being we create stories in our heads about ourselves and about others that may or may not be true. That's why we have to find out. That's why one of the other great agreements, Cheryl, is don't make assumptions. Ask questions. Ask the question, Grandma. Now, of course, you're a kid. You're not, but I'm just saying, in the ideal world, Grandma, why do you treat me like that? Why are you so hard on me? What you see?
No. Now I'm writing down my thoughts
Okay,
as we're
gotcha.
going. So when you talk,
Yeah.
give me
So-
my turn.
Right. So that's the bottom line. Like ideally you would have asked the question, Grandma, why are you so hard on me? Are you hard on me? Do you think I should have protected your daughter? Right? Like, of course, we are very clear that a child of 10 years old who has been through the trauma of seeing his father kill his mother in front of him is not going to do that, right? But that would ideally, it would have saved you a lot of grief and a lot of heartache and pain that you inflicted on yourself. Your grandmother wasn't inflicting that. She was hard, but she didn't put the guilt on you in her mind that you should have protected her child. I can promise you she never thought that. Because again, she had her own guilt behind her own shit as to why she thought she should have been able to do something different, not giving credence to the fact that your mother made choices, your father made choices that neither one of you guys had a possibility to fix or correct. There was something in your dad that caused him to do that. There was something he felt about him that made that his choice at that moment. There was something in your mom that made her stay in that situation. So again, what we reap is what we're going to sow. What we reap, what we sow is what we're going to reap. We sow thoughts of ourselves, thoughts of the people around us that may or may not be true. But guess what happens when you plant a seed and it gets watered? It grows. It grows. And again, in my case, Cheryl, it stemmed from my dad, but it grew into every other relationship with every other man. It pollinated every relationship. It pollinated every one of them until I realized what I was doing. Now, of course, there were some things along the way that I knew not to do. Like, because my mother was adamant about certain things. You're not letting no man put their hands on you. I found out from talking to one of her friends recently that my dad apparently was abusive more than I knew. Because when I talked to her, I don't remember my father living in the house where we grew up. I only remember him living with my grandparents close by. But this friend of hers was the one who actually put my dad out the house. She went and she said to me, because he used to hit your mother. So that I knew of one time where when I was a kid, he came over at night and he blacked her eye to the point she almost lost her eye. And so she had to tell us that he had beat her up the night before. And he kept telling her, if I can't have you, I'm gonna mess up your face so nobody will want you, which was never true. See, again, that was some shit he thought, but that wasn't the case either. Why? Because she had a big old butt. But anyway, that's beside the point. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Cheese and stuff. Right here. My mama had a little bitty waist and a big old butt, honey. It didn't matter what that face was doing. Somebody wanted my mama, okay? Anyhow. But again, there was something in his mind that he thought that was wrong. Right? My mom had thoughts that she should put up with it until her friend told her, no, this is going to stop today. And thankfully she listened, because I know that based on, now mind you, and I want to say in all fairness to my dad was on heroin at the time. An addict ain't shit. An addict ain't shit. And the truth of the matter is, my dad was selling everything out of my mother's house. Selling everything. She told him, my mom told me one time, one of the rare occasions, I'm sure I was grown by the time she would even have these kind of conversations with me. But she told my dad, if you sell my sewing machine, I will kill you. He had sold the record albums, the albums out the house. He was selling everything.
And
she told him,
to sell everything in the house.
if you sell my sewing machine, I'm going to kill you. And that was there when I remember the sewing machine, right? Because he had sense enough. No, I better not touch that. So again, the issue though becomes is that what have we told ourselves? What are the things, the lies? Because I'm telling you, I have found in knowing certain terms, they have always been lies. They've always been lies. We hold on to those, like I mention this often here too, and in my classes when I teach in the prison. If you think about what the things that people hold on to, the stories that they tell themselves all the time, the things that they talk about, they never got over it. It is never a happy thing. It is always the worst thing that ever happened to them. So people don't constantly retell the story of the best Christmas they ever had or the best birthday they ever had. They tell you the story over and over again and over again, relive the traumas,
Ugh.
the betrayals, the times that somebody hurt their feeling, the hurt. And I understand at some level because we don't want it to happen again, but it makes us hyper vigilant. But then we wind up we give it more power than it should have. So we are responsible to take back our power. We have to take the power out of the lie. Not the lie somebody else told us, the lie we told ourselves, because that's the one that's going to hold you back. Not the lie somebody told on you. I've been lied on a lot.
Every day.
Every
sorry.
day, right now.
Yeah, every day.
Somebody tell a lie on me.
Yes.
Every
Yes,
day.
ma'am.
That's I'm not making that up.
No, ma'am.
Okay. But I don't care nothing about them lies. The lie that had an impact on me were the ones I told myself.
Yeah.
They the ones that had an
Yeah.
impact. Them telling a lie on me about what I don't care, but it's what I told myself because that's what's making me function a particular way. Why? Because I believe it. Yes, ma'am.
I know when I was little, I lived at my grandma's house and my uncle was on drugs, which back then nobody talked about nothing, right? All I knew is he came to my grandma's house. He would come at nighttime and he'd be beating on the windows, beating on the doors, and she wouldn't let him in. As I thought in my head was, oh, I never want to be like that. If I go to my mama's house, my grandma's house, somebody's house, and they don't let me in. So now I'm thinking like, why she don't want to let him in, right? Now my uncle lived behind the garage in a trailer. So the morning, my little nosy self, I couldn't wait till the morning came because I wanted to know why she would let him in. What is he doing? She won't let him in. So I broke into the trailer. Now, when I get into the trailer, I got so scared because I've never seen it before. It was needles. It was matches. It was a spoon, and the needles had blood in it and all that. All I knew, whatever I saw right there, that's bad. Whatever this is, don't ever do this. Don't ever do this.
And that was a positive thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
So again, remember that I'm saying that this law of the universe works for positive or negative. If you have a positive thought about yourself or a positive something that uplifts you, if you have that, that will also produce what you want. That is a positive thing. And what that caused you to do is you didn't fool with drugs. And if they came at you with some needles, telling you, come on, Dad, let's get high off of this and use this needle.
That's like I didn't start smoking cigarettes when I was 20-some years old in my own place and didn't know that cigarettes can linger. Cigarettes had an odor. I didn't think like that. Because my mom would come over and she'd be like, smoking in there. I'm like, I don't know. But it was me the whole time, right? So one day she came, she's like, Doc, stop smoking in that bathroom. I know you smoking. And I was like,
Busted. Okay.
Yeah, but that right there, it scared me so bad because I never seen nothing like that before. And our trailer is not that big.
Right.
And it was all like right there. So when I opened the door, it was all right there. It was like all the needles and blood and matches and spoons. And I just ran out like, oh my God, whatever that is, don't ever do that, Di. And that's all. I never told nobody. I went in there and saw it. I never said nothing, but I just knew I felt bad because my grandma wouldn't let him in. Like, oh my God, I don't never want to be like that.
Trying to help somebody.
I always
to help
like
somebody.
I always thought like that.
And you was a little bitty old
Yeah,
thing.
I
You
always
did,
thought like
you
that.
had a cake.
I always thought
Like
like
you
that.
wanted to go to the room and find out why.
Yeah, like why she won't let him in the house? I don't even.
Because you was going to advocate on his behalf.
Like let him in the house. It's cold outside, stupid. Yeah, but yeah,
But you better have minded your business.
Oh, yeah, that's those house. You better gonna get slid somewhere.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Are you waiting
I
Go
got a lot
ahead,
of
go ahead,
stuff
go for broke.
that because it was going along the lines of what when you were talking, and the children are not talked to and not given the opportunity to ask or explain because, and in his case, back then and back with me, back with you, back with Roberta, we don't talk. We're just supposed to be quiet. You don't say nothing. I'm
Children are
talking.
seen and not heard.
Yeah, I'm talking. Don't talk back to me and stuff. So you
Stay out
can't
of grown folks'
that
business.
explain or to want to know why. If you're a curious child, you ask why all the time and stuff. And I just said to somebody, my son, since he's been able to talk, has been able to explain stuff. When we moved to West Covina, he's 1.5. I built a water and sand table. I said, don't put the sand in the water. And he did. And I was watching in the window. I opened the door and said, come in the house. Why? I said, because I told you don't do that. But I said, get in this house. The other day, I apologized to him and said, why didn't I not think you were going to put the water and the sand together just to see what it did? But I'm thinking like, do what I tell you to do, right? Then I wrote, when he said that the negative way she did, for them, it's not negative, it's what Noreen said, it's the way they have been brought up.
Right.
I always think about how they whoop us. They whoop slaves. They thought that was the way to keep a slave in line. So it carried down to
Yeah.
the reason, I'm gonna whoop you.
Fear.
And they said that too. I'm gonna whoop you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Oh,
whoop
yeah.
you. And they get something and whoop
Go
you
outside,
with
pick your
it. Get them
switch.
Peachtree
Go outside,
switches.
pick your
Yep.
switch, right? And especially because your grandmother was probably only 1 or 2 generations away from slavery. So that process, the way that being done was just normal.
Yep.
Psychologically,
Yeah, it was just normal.
And I said, children, how often do children think because they're not explaining stuff, not giving questions, they think it's their responsibility. But B's grandmother probably thought it's my fault, so I got to be harder on these kids.
That's exactly
It's
what she
my
thought.
fault that my daughter's gone.
That's
I have to be harder on these kids, and to take a child and say, "This is why I'm doing this, baby," and stuff would have been wonderful for his life. And then I went this far too. When your father neglect you, right, and you go out and seek older men
Yeah.
while you young,
Yeah.
right? It's the stuff that they do. The stuff they do affects the little children because little children have no understanding. I said when they arrested me and my son was 4, how is this what I always tell people? I was my son's entire world. I don't care. I tell people I'm sorry, but when we had them kilos, he was with us. He stacked them up. They played with stacks of money. I'm shame about that.
Right.
But I
it
tell
is what it
people
is.
that, but that's what happened because he was with me. They took his world away. How was he gonna say to that foster care lady, where's the lady, the mommy lady that hugs me and feeds me every day and holds me and rubs me when I go to sleep? Because my heart is broken, but he don't know his heart is broke because he don't know emotions yet, right? But he knows something's wrong in his life and stuff. I said, and that's where that trauma came because he knew I tell people he could count to 100 already when he was 1.5. He also from 1.5, so he was a smart little boy. He came back from Tennessee after them 8 months, couldn't count to 10, didn't know his ABCs or nothing because that trauma set in on him. His whole world got shattered.
And let me say this.
He's shut all the way
He
down.
he may not even know to this day what he told himself about why you were not there. But I can guarantee you there was something that he questioned.
What did I do?
What did he do?
Said it was his fault. When I talked to him when he was 7,
see?
I said, how long? He said, I know why. No, you don't know why. I said that you don't know why. But he had been blaming himself for all of that.
Now he was a 4-year-old. Keep that in mind. I just want you. I need everybody to pay attention to the fact that he was 4 years old. His parents went to prison, and he blamed himself.
Because he's 4, he has feelings. So his feelings when she left, his father left, wherever he went to, he shut all the way down.
When I got arrested, I knew it was a big issue because I said that to you guys before. I would not talk to him I would have my best friend call him every day. And I wouldn't say nothing. I just listened on the phone because I know he was going to say, Mommy, come get me. And I couldn't come get him. And I didn't know what to say. And I told him, I said, I should have said something to you. I just thought it would be horrible because I couldn't help you. But he said to Sean, tell my daddy to come get me. I knew he was in a bad place.
Okay.
Not bad with the person, but
Right.
that he wanted his family.
Yes.
He wanted
knew-
his family.
He knew that whoever she wasn't it. She's not those people. She's not the people that matter to me.
And she's the lady who said to my mother, he sure does talk a lot because we were 40 minutes from Nashville where I had lived. So he went to foster care there. And she said he talked the entire way. And guess what? She stopped him from talking.
Yeah, she shut him down.
She shut him down.
She closed
Children
down.
are seen and not heard. And
That's
down
it.
the South.
That's it. Oh yeah, in the South, absolutely. Ain't no child, and they don't want to hear you count to 100. Go sit down. Right? That's what happened. Like you say, she shut down his voice. And it happens in a lot of ways. We don't realize it that we shut down their voice. And I'm glad that we're in a generation now that we do at least talk to children, because you would have benefited greatly from from her talking to you about what was going on, what she was thinking, right? You could have expressed to her that what you thought, maybe she was mad because you didn't protect her daughter, and she would have told you, what? You was a kid, baby.
It doesn't
I
have
didn't
nothing to
believe
do
that.
with you.
The other thing that is important is why we should talk to children. I think is the most important thing is to dispel the lies.
Right.
Because children fill in the blanks, but it is always self-inflicted. In other words, I'm always the problem. There was no way, there was nothing you could have done at 10 years old to change the circumstances with your parents. Nothing. But that's not how you felt. You had to feel like you should have done something in order to make the leap that she blamed you. You had to blame you, right? If you never felt like, like somehow you should have done something different in that moment, it would never have occurred to you that your grandmother would have blamed you. But that's a lie you told yourself about yourself. And I can promise you, if you look at what you have done throughout your life and how you have behaved, that thought has permeated so many things.
But part of it was after he did it, he said, look at what you guys made me do.
That didn't help.
And so
even if you didn't, he made sure you did think so.
But it was just all of it was spinning so quickly that it was just like, well,
But his mind is warped for even to do that. And then, but to say that he's putting the blame already, but how horrible for a 10-year-old. That's absolutely horrible for a 10-year-old to get the burden of that type of horror and think it's you. That's absolutely horrible.
Well, because you didn't have anything to do with any of that. You see what I'm saying? First of all, you didn't buy a gun.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I've worked through it for sure. But I do think, to your point, it is powerful, the messages that we tell ourselves. And if we can course correct it, and then also make sure we don't give it to our kids in the future, it's really powerful.
So we don't pass that traumatic thinking, the stinking thinking down to our children, because we will do that. We can do it through things like my son and my daughter-in-law, I feel like, are overprotective. I think my son is so hyper vigilant about security and safety, it get on my damn nerves. Okay. But that's how he feels like he needs to behave for his children. He puts so much pressure on himself to be a good father because he feels like his father was not. But he is a good father. But the pressure he puts on himself is outsized for the job.
He's a good person, though.
Yeah, he is. Because I raised him. My child. What are you talking about? Of course he's a good person. Duh. Look who his mama is. Duh. Okay, anyway. That's not the point.
I
I'm
never
just-
thought about that.
What?
Well, I think your son is a good person,
Mm-hmm.
but I never thought about you raising him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So you think I'm a good person too, right? You tell me that all the time. You tell me that all the time.
Good person.
Yeah, but you just never connected the two necessarily.
But you know what? And I've said it 100 times. The first time I heard you speak, I felt it.
Mm-hmm. You
That's
felt that
why,
good person vibe.
yeah, I did. And I believed on what you said.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I always told everybody that moved in the house, and because
Go to that group.
they had to go to a
At
meeting.
least one.
Yeah, and I pushed them all to come to you.
Yeah. And I could tell by the attendance, but so it's just really important for us, and it's getting late, so I wanna give those, everybody an opportunity to check out any for anybody new, this is a time where anything that you think you might take away from tonight, please let us know what that might be. If there's your last thoughts about the topic, anything, let me know what you want to think. And anybody can unmute and go, or anybody in the room, you guys can do your checkout for me. Go ahead, Big Baby.
Bye. It was great. I actually had like an epiphany. So I really needed this today. I'm gonna go for a jog now.
Go for it. That's awesome.
All right.
That's awesome. So you took care of your mind, you exercise your mind, and now you're exercising your body. You are a superstar, Miss Monica.
Awesome sauce.
Bye.
What did you just say? What did you say when I said that? When I said you're a superstar, what did you say? Unmute, Miss Monica. What did you just say when I said you're a superstar?
I'm not.
I heard it.
Oh,
What you said? Unmute, baby. We can hear you. I can't hear you. You said something. Listen, you're a superstar, Miss Monica. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Okay.
Umberto, can you unmute and tell me you're unmute, sweetie. Unmute. You're muted. We can't hear you. I can't hear you, baby. I cannot hear you, Umberto. I know you're talking, but I can't hear you. Miss Beverly. Where's Miss Beverly again?
I always enjoy you guys listening. I always take away something, and I'm just happy to be here, and I appreciate you guys.
Wonderful. Glad to have you with us, sweetie. May you have a great week, okay? Carlos, anything you want to say?
No, I'm gonna hit it right now. So I don't have it not today. So I went to the group today and Francisco home the ceremony, but just pretty good. Yeah, thank you.
Glad to have you with us in the room. Thank you for the topic. I really appreciated it. Wonderful.
Yeah, I thought it was a great topic. I didn't speak, but I definitely had a lot of horrible thoughts growing up, which caused a ripple effect in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did those a few times, but I heard everybody's
Comments.
their stories, and I was thinking, wow, like
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
when you would.
It matters.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What type?
Absolutely. He was saying he remembers when she wouldn't speak. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when you first come here,
Horrible thoughts.
you wouldn't talk.
Yeah, now she does, which is great. Go ahead.
I wanted to say a while ago when I was gonna say, I really appreciate you for that, for everything you do, but this last week was excellent, today, and I hope that when we get to Mexico, we can go into this so Monica can tell you more
Mhm.
about that,
Mhm.
and we can sit together and help her and anybody else who needs help with this, because yes,
Yes.
yes,
ma'am.
because
Yes, ma'am.
it's just some stuff, and
Yeah, understood.
I
Love
really
it.
appreciate it. And I will be
Wonderful.
happy, because if she
So-
says she had an epiphany,
Mm.
then I'm understanding she's starting to understand this
That's
for
great.
real. Yeah.
The layers are
You know, for
falling.
me, I tell you guys all the time,
Layers fall.
to be of service, for me, to be of service is the issue for me, right? I am happiest when I feel like I'm helping people, unlike Diane.
You should be
with so
happy
much
all the
alike in
time.
that regard,
I
right?
tell you, that's
Yes.
where you're that's where you shine, because that's what you love to
I
do.
love to do that. I love to help people. And I have come to the realization that part of my gift is to give people practical steps to heal, like with Monica,
Mhm.
right? Monica, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to keep asking ourselves why. And
No,
then
the
when
first
you
thing Monica's gonna do is stop being afraid of Monica.
Yeah, well, she got to figure out why she's afraid.
That's all.
We're going to keep asking why
We're gonna stop
till
right
you
there.
figure out why you're afraid
Stop,
of failure,
stop,
why
Mark.
this, why that.
Stop.
We're going to just do all of those things, right? But they're practical steps. These are,
Yeah.
and when you get here, you might feel this, you might experience that.
It's okay.
That is the gift that I have been given. And that's part of my purpose, is to actually be able to help people get the practical steps so that they can heal. And I am honored to be of service. Yes, sir.
So I really enjoyed the night, and the one thing I would say is, I felt very honored that I was able to help Diane tonight. I gave her some good advice during this call, where I just said, hey, we should be more positive in terms of just keep telling yourself you're fast, just keep telling yourself you're fast. And just keep telling yourself, be
Fast or fast?
Fast.
Super
FAST, because she
And so-
told him that she ran track.
Yeah, so I just keep telling yourself that, and we're good.
But don't have a ribbon.
That's all I say. That's all I gotta say.
We ain't got the thing. She can get a ribbon next time. First
Thank you for
place.
sharing.
First place.
Yeah, here we go. Here goes a certificate for her. Yeah,
Okay.
Anyway.
So that participation? Okay.
Oh, goodness gracious alive. I'm just telling y'all, I don't even know what to
That's
say
it
behind
right
that.
there.
I'm not sure. I don't even know what to do with that. Listen, I'm gonna stay out of it. You see, Cheryl, why I say stay out of it, Cheryl? You see why I say stay out of it? Because see, you think it was finished and it was over and they resurrected. Listen,
Always. Oh, I know I can't run.
Wait till
they are
recording go off.
hilarious.
You're welcome.
Wait till recording.
They are hilarious.
You're
I love you guys. Pike, any last words from you, sweetie?
Good night.
I enjoyed the
You
meeting.
guys take our
Wonderful.
Thank you, Robert.
I appreciate. Oh, isn't that sweet? I love you guys. Again, you guys, we're here. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Facebook. If you have any topics, don't forget you're always free to chime in to tell us what you want to say.
Right
Any
in the
topics
chat.
that you want when we do check in, you can always, if there is something, thank you, that you want to say during this group, that you may not want to just say it, put it in the chat.
I see it.
You can put it in the chat privately to me, and I will be the only person that can see it if you don't want anybody to know who it is that said what it is, but we can address whatever you're thinking. And I was so grateful to you, Diane, for that thought, because that is such a tool that can be used. Because a lot of times we don't want to just say whatever it is that we're going through or whatever. So make sure that you know the chat is also a tool that you can use to speak up here. And Miss Monica, baby, keep doing what you're doing. We love you. We
got
appreciate
you.
you.
Be-
See you guys soon, okay?
Ceviche,
Thank you guys so much. Talk to you guys next week.
Love you, baby.
Monica.
ceviche.
She said make the ceviche. She'll
She
be
wants
there.
ceviche. Diane is such a food. You listen. You get
No,
Diane
no
some food.
ceviche. The
Yeah.
best ceviche.
You gonna make some ceviche when we get there. Love you guys.
Yeah.
Love you
Thanks for
guys.
being